Getting into Harvard Law or any T6, T14 law school for that matter is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's not about grinding 18 hours a day, and it's definitely not about rewriting your personal statement 12 times or magically fixing your GPA senior year. It is about understanding how the law school admissions machine actually works and then using that system to your advantage. But most people don't do that. They spend months optimizing things that barely move the needle, wasting their time, and then they wonder why the answer is waitlist. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I would get into Harvard Law in 2026, especially if my GPA was not perfect. And spoiler, my college GPA was only a 3.3, so I've personally lived this. Now, Harvard Law's median LSAT score is a 174. Their median GPA is a 395. And so if your numbers are not above those medians, you are not strengthening their stats. And if you're not strengthening their stats, you are not an auto admit. Doesn't mean they won't take you, but it does mean they need a reason, a real compelling reason to take the risk. And here's the part the internet loves to ignore. Your GPA is basically locked in, but your LSAT score is not. And so if I were applying today with my original 3.3 GPA, I would immediately recognize my GPA is not helping me, it is actually hurting me. I also won't have time to raise it meaningfully, and the upside is capped, the downside is permanent. And so the LSAT has to carry the entire application on its back. And so if I were applying to Harvard Law today, my personal LSAT target would be a 177 or higher. Not because everybody needs a 177, but because I would need to counterbalance a GPA that drags the median downward. And so if you're a splitter, this is how you increase your odds and turn yourself from being a risky applicant into a statistical gift. Now, the biggest time waster I see every single year is that students will retake 2 or 3 undergraduate classes, take a couple of random community college courses, join a research lab, or sign up for a paralegal job because they think it looks good. But none of that will move your GPA, at least not enough to matter. If you could go from a 3.30 to a 3.34 GPA, admissions does not care. But if you can go from a 167 to a 177, that is a career-changing difference. It is 10 points of pure leverage, and it can happen in just a couple of months. So when I see students saying, I'm taking a few extra courses so I look stronger, I always think to myself, you just created 6 months of unnecessary stress instead of doubling down on the one metric that could change everything. So here is a simple rule. If it does not raise your LSAT score or help you protect your energy or to prep effectively, it is a no. Paralegal internship, don't do it. Volunteer gig during LSAT prep, don't do it. Rewriting your personal statement for the 9th time or agreeing to 3 new social commitments every weekend, all of that is a hard no. These things might feel productive, but they are procrastination in disguise. But the upside of studying for the LSAT, getting a higher score, is absolutely worth it. Getting into a top 14 law school, getting 6 figures in scholarships, it's worth the investment. Law schools have 2 priorities: to protect their LSAT medians and to protect their GPA medians. Everything else, like your essays, your background, your work experience, comes only after those 2 numbers are strong enough. Now, a couple of key facts that most applicants miss. Schools use your highest LSAT score. They do not average multiple LSAT scores, and they don't penalize retakes. A 3.9 in art history is weighted the same as a 3.9 in mechanical engineering. No curve, no context, major doesn't matter. And schools love splitters, folks with high LSATs and low GPAs, because the splitters will raise the LSAT median even if they chip away at the GPA median. So your LSAT can outweigh your GPA, but only if it's high enough. A 172 with a 3.3 for a T14 is going to be tough. But if you have a 177 with a 3.3 GPA, you're still helping them. So if I were studying for the LSAT today, aiming for that 177 for Harvard Law, here is the system I would follow. It is the laser approach. This is the cornerstone of my LSAT courses and coaching programs and the study plans we build for our students. LASER is an acronym standing for learning, accuracy, sections, exams, and review. L is for learning, where you master the fundamentals first. You've got to understand how arguments actually work. Premises, conclusions, assumptions, flaws, patterns. You start off with the three big logical reasoning question types: necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. Then the 500-page textbooks drown you in theory you'll never use. Throw those away. Give them to your worst enemy. It's hard to get through those. Use short, bite-sized resources instead. Then we have A for accuracy, where you drill by question type, untimed at first, uncomfortably slow, only once you understand the basics. After each question, you want to ask, why was the wrong answer wrong? Why was the right answer right? What trap did I fall for? Did I misread something? Did I make an assumption not supported by the passage? Did I guess? And you want to be honest. A guess, even if you got it correct, is still a mistake because it could have gone the other way, so treat it that way. Next, we have S for sections, timed full 35-minute sections, no distractions, no breaks, on the computer, not a book, since the LSAT's on a computer. For pacing, you want to aim for the first 10 logical reasoning questions in about 10 minutes. Then you build up a time bank where you can slow down on the harder ones. If you get stuck for more than 45 seconds, you flag it, you skip it, you move on, you come back later. Then we have E for exams and endurance, where you're doing full practice tests to build your stamina, your consistency, test day confidence, emotional endurance, and you build up your ability to bounce back after a hard passage. In the final month before test day, you want to aim for several full exams, ideally 1 or 2 a week, so that you're doing 10 at least by test day itself, so that the exam is like another run through. Then finally, you have R for review. And this is the secret weapon almost nobody uses properly. You want to ask yourself, where exactly did I go wrong? Was the mistake in the stimulus, the question stem, or the answer choices? What pattern does this mistake fit? Have I made this mistake before? And how do I prevent it next time around? Because the LSAT repeats itself. And once you start seeing the patterns, your score jumps quickly. Now, most people pick a test date kind of arbitrarily where they just want to be done with it, or they say, I feel ready, or I want to be done by January or February, or my roommate's taking it then. But instead, you want to reverse engineer your schedule the way you would plan a product launch. So you set weekly goals, you set clear drilling targets, you set a number of timed sections you want to hit, a number of full exams you want to hit, and you want to set aside at least 3 weeks for full-length practice tests. You also want to build in downtime to avoid burnout so you're not cramming. And so if I were applying to law school, Harvard specifically in 2026 with a low GPA, I wouldn't try to round out my application or build shiny resume bullet points. I would go all in on the LSAT, because in admissions, that one number can change your entire career. That one number, your LSAT score, and it is completely within your control, so you want to make it count.